Welcome back to another Flexbox tutorial. In this video, we'll explore how to size flex items. So far in this tutorial, we just have seen properties related to the flex container. So now let's dive into flex items and see what's possible with them. So for today's video, you can see I have right here in our HTML, I have a div with a class of flex-container. And inside of this container, we have 6 divs with a common class of flex-item. If we go to our styles.cs, you can see that I target the flex-container and created our Flexbox container. And then I use the class flex-items to style those divs. So Flexbox offers you many properties that you can use to size items. The first one I want to show you today is the flex grow. Flex grow property defines how much an item will grow in related to the other items inside of a container when we have more free space. Let's see right here in our container that we have more space. Let's make now all the items grow and take an equal amount of space. To do that, you can use the property flex grow with the value of 1. And now you can see that all your items have the same weight. When you resize your browser, you can see that they all are growing in the same proportion. Now you can target individual items. Let's say I want to target the first item. I can use the flex-item class and then use the pseudo class first child. And now let's say this item will grow. So flex grow with the value of 2. Save it. And you can see by default the number 2 now is bigger than the rest. And when you size your browser, you can clearly see that the number 1 is growing bigger than the rest. Now let's target the third element inside of your container. So dot flex item, and now you can use the pseudo class number of type. Let's say 3, and then flex grow will have a value of 3. Save it, and now you can see the number 3 is the biggest one inside of the container. And when we size the container, you can see the number 3 is going bigger than the rest. We can also use the pseudo class. Now let's make all the even number inside of your container to grow bigger. So you pass the parameter even, save it, and now you can see the number 2, number 4, and number 6 are the biggest. And you can change it to hot. Save it, and now you can see the number 1 and number 3 and 5 are growing bigger. You can use the flex grow property to define how your item will grow when there is more space inside of your container. Now let's comment these 2 examples. The second property I want to show you is the flex shrink property. Flex shrink property defines how much a flex item will shrink in related to the other items in a container when free negative space are distributed. So let's say we want all the items inside of a container to shrink with the same proportion. You can use the flex shrink property with the value of 1. This is the default value. When you make your browser bigger and you make it smaller again, you can notice that all the items are shrinking in the same proportion. Let's say now we want to target this third item in a container and we want it to grow 3 times larger, but we don't want it to shrink. You can use right here and use the property flex shrink with a value of 0. Save it. When you resize the browser, you can notice that it's growing, but when you make it smaller, you can notice they're not shrink as the other items in a container. So let's comment these 2. Also comment these 2 properties right here. And the third property I want to show you is the flex basis. The flex basis property specifies the initial size of a flex item before any distribution of positive or negative space happens. The initial value for this property is auto. When you define the flex basis with the value of auto, you are saying that each item will have initial size depending on the content inside. But you can also define your own width let's say we want this to be 40 pixel, and now each item will be 40 pixel in width. And if you shrink the container, you can see the remaining items will be placed in the second row. This is because we are using right here the flex wrap with the value of wrap. You can also, let's now remove this width right here and define that each item will be now 6 pixel in width. Save it, and if you size your container, when the container becomes large enough to hold all the items, they will be posted in one single line. You can also overwrite size of each item individually. Let's say flex basis right here will be now, let's say 70 pixels in width. You can see that the first item is bigger, and you can still use the flex shrink and flex grow. If you save it, you can see now that each item will shrink and grow at same proportion. And because now each item has at least 60 pixels in width, you can see that the 60 item will be placed in the second row and will fill the container. If you keep making smaller, you can see now the fifth and sixth item are placed in the second row. And the last property I want to show you is the property called flex. We saw this property being used in the second episode. This property is a shorthand property for flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis. If you come right here and say the flex value will be 1, let's save it, and now you can see that all items will shrink and grow at same proportion. Let's also comment this one, so all of them will have the same size. And now you can see when you make your browser bigger or you shrink it, you see that they have the same proportion. You can also make a combination of flex grow and flex basis. Let's say each item will be at least now 50 pixels in width, and you can save it. If you resize your browser, you can see these items are all flexible now. And you can also specify the value for the flex shrink. Let's say we don't want any item to shrink, so let's make the browser bigger, and now let's make it smaller, and you can see the 6 items and the 50 will be placed in the second row. So these are all the properties that Flexbox offers us for sizing the flex items. Now let's bring all this knowledge together, all these properties, and let's create a decking of cards. So first of all, let's remove all this CSS right here. Save it, and also let's go to our HTML and comment or remove the section right here. So I already have HTML for the cards, so let me just copy and paste it right here so you don't see me type it. Right here I have a parent element with a class of cards-container. We'll use this class to create our container, and inside of it we have 3 articles. I'm using the class card to create cards, and then card-header for the header, and we have an image, and then we have the card-body, and finally the card-footer. We'll target this class to create our cards. So now let me just paste the CSS for those classes for the card. Let me paste them right here, save it. Now let me make this browser bigger so we can really see. Right here we have our 3 cards. Now let's target the parent element and create our Flexbox container. So come right here, copy this class. Let me paste it right here. Let's also add some margin. From top and bottom will be 20 pixel, and left and right will be auto. So this will make it center. And you know, to create a flex container you have to use the display with the value of flex, and then let's use the flex wrap with the value of wrap. Save it, and also let's add some gap between those cards of 20 pixel. And we still don't have a deck of card. To create a deck of card, let's use the class card again, and now we'll use the flex property. let's say we want all the items to grow 1, to shrink 1, and the minimum width will be 250 pixel. Save it, and now we have a deck of cards. So now let's make the middle card bigger. You come right here, you can use the card class with the pseudo element number of card that we used before. Let's target the middle card, so number 2, and now we will override the flex property. So now it will grow 2 times bigger, it will shrink 1, and the minimum width will be 350 pixel. Save it, and now you have your deck of cards with the middle card bigger. So this is it for this video. I hope you enjoy it. On the next one we'll see how we can override the items alignment using the align self property. Stay tuned.